Hello, friends. I hope you are well. Welcome to UGRC 150. That is critical thinking and practical reasoning. A level 100 University of Ghana required course. That is what UGRC 150 stands for. University of Ghana required course. And which one is that? There are several of them. So this is 150, which is done by both main and city campuses in both first semester and second semester. For group 2 of main campus, I'll be your lecturer and examiner. Since you are many, there are a number of groups, you should get that clarity. So you would want to be careful when you are receiving a notice or when you are receiving prompts on the specific group. Then you want to check if this refers to you. So I'm taking students of main campus group 2 and students of city campus groups 3 and 4. And since this is the video lecture on the same topic, the same book, the content I'm delivering for lecture 1 can feed all these 3 groups, and then we can engage in our live interactive sessions to bring clarity to you. So each group should kindly refer to the notice I have sent to you on the site to know when specifically we will engage questions on the unit. There are other very important content I have put in your notices on your specific site for you, the time I'm meeting your group for the online discussions of the lecture delivered. If you do not go by that, we will all have challenges. You won't be able to have enough, time of interaction. So if I meet group 2, I want to meet group 2 students and take their questions and take their specific concerns. Then I'll still meet group 3 also for their 2 hours for that week, or even the subsequent 2 hours for that week. And the same for group 4. I think we can have a bit more extensive chat there for this content. It is meant to be specifically the lecture, and we are trying not to make it too lengthy so that you get the trust of the lecture proper. All other pedagogical issues we can engage during the live session. Okay, so this is the communication until we are instructed otherwise by the university on the level 100 teaching for UGRCs. I'm sure you would have a fair idea of what the UGRCs are. There are over 8,000 students for this course, at least as I know it for just main campus. City campus, I think, also exceeds a certain number. And given the number of faculty engaging it, we may have to stick to the university's original intent for all UGRCs to be online taught. Now, we don't make those decisions, so we are still waiting for clarity on how we proceed. But you, the students, cannot wait. The calendar will not wait for you. So we will continue as things are until we are giving other alternatives that are viable, workable for the 6 or so lectures having to engage this content with you in addition to other teaching courses that we have. I think that brings clarity to you. So it is not much of a decision of your lecture on how to proceed, but what the lecture can do, and I'm doing, just like my other colleagues in the other groups will be doing, and I suppose are doing now, is what? Is to give you content. That is what you are here to do, to learn, whilst we wait for all the pedagogical issues to be clarified. All right, so my name is Dr. Mrs. Nancy Miles Bafo Jimfi. I am a faculty member, that means a lecturer of the Philosophy and Classics Department, which belongs to the Humanities, College of Humanities. You see my contact advertised here. You can contact me via WhatsApp. I've given you the permission for the period of academic work to help you directly clarify matters so that the confusion ceases for most of you. You could also call, but calls are mostly not effective for me. I'm addressing UGRC 150 students now, my students for the University of Ghana required course. I have other students, so please watch and be clear about the communication going on here. I'm not speaking to levels 300. I'm not speaking to the student I'm supervising your work. I'm not speaking to my level 100 currently, not the 200s, please. I'm not conducting an academic advisor session where we would have all kinds of levels of students there. This is tailor-made for UGRC 150 students, please, of the year 2021. Not 2020, not 2019 students of the same course. So let's get those clarities so that you don't confuse matters. Then here you see my email also. You can communicate via email. I try to be as prompt as I can, but given the numbers, you know that sometimes your email might trail a bit into a day. I don't normally allow emails to sit overnight because it could cost me, but give your lecturers time to respond to your emails. WhatsApp could be relatively a bit more prompt for me because of how the world is now. I always have my phone. So all other details that you would want to have from me, we can do that specific to group so I can take more of your queries. Okay. So again, this is to group 2 main campus, groups 3 and 4 city campus. The content here on lecture 1, thoughts as object of scrutiny, should be beneficial to all these 3 groups. Since your lecturer is this person here, I'm highlighting on the screen, and she will assess you at least up to continuous assessment. We'll clarify with the exams also. And so it is in your interest to follow the lecturer's emphasis, even though all the several groups will be engaging a common content for critical thinking and practical reasoning. I'm sure by now you would have gotten the content, that's the required text. If you do not know what I'm talking about, then you haven't gone to the course site specific to your course, group 2, you should do that. You will have the course outline there, the course description, the mode of assessment, etc., etc. Very important to you. It is just up there, the overview on Sakai. Those of you who haven't been able to get into Sakai yet for technical issues, for school fees issues, I would advise that you take the WhatsApp link that has been advertised on Sakai, in the platform that has been created. The only challenge is you may not be in group 2 for main campus, for example, or groups 3 and 4 for city campus, but you would go to that course WhatsApp group, official one, of course. You might be there and be receiving notices on, say, for example, assessment is due tomorrow. And then you might apply that to your group. Say you are in group 6 main campus, and you might apply that information to that group and be worried. I can't see the assessment. Say, please, first of all, I'm not a say. So if there is a notice to my group members, you do not expect that your group lecturer should have the same issues going on there. You might give him undue pressure, or you might give me an undue pressure if you are not in my group, for example, okay, but you are there. However, for the content, you can be on the group in addition to that, I don't know, and it won't cost you anything. You will just have more information on the course. You will know more, but you should stick to the specific lecture you are signed up for. A little clarity also, since the student body is large and sometimes communication is not clear to students, so they get the wrong impression. Just like the online teaching issue that I have clarified has nothing to do with a specific lecture for courses like this one, UGRC 150. When it comes to City Campus, the timetable that apparently you saw to inform your selection of groups, in other words, it gave you days and times to meet which group and which lecture, apparently has been corrected because that wasn't the initial communication. Okay, this semester and the subsequent ones, we have a difficulty on our hands. So conclusion is, if you signed for a group during your registration, as was advertised, the certain group was advertised as group 3, they will meet Thursday, so and so time, so for example. That is why you chose the group, and then you come in maybe the group 3. I'm referring to City Campus now. You came in the group 3, lecturer's notice to you says, I'm meeting you Monday, 8:30 to something. It is not that the lecturer has decided to choose a different time without recourse to what the campus folks had posted. No, it is not that. UGRCs are an additional requirement, it has large numbers. So it is the lecturer for the group, a specific lecturer, not the coordinator. The specific lecturer will find an appropriate time to engage to the appropriate, meaning that it should fit into all the other courses the lecturer is teaching. And your numbers are relatively large because it's a university-wide course, University of Ghana required course. I've just given you the numbers for our current semester so far, at least as estimated by Academic Affairs. We are looking at over 8,000 students taught by not more than 10 lectures. We are not up to that. We are not even up to 7 or so for this semester specifically. There are names on that calendar, a timetable that was advertised for UR City Campus, who are not, currently not, about 2 or so, 3 lectures names were added there that are currently not available to teach that course. So the clarity is, it isn't the lecturer that has decided to give another time, and so it has created a problem for you because you chose the time there to fit your timetable. You see, it is not the lecture. There shouldn't have been any time at all. The students were supposed to register into the course. The coordinator manually groups you and then tells his colleague lecturers that these are your students. Then the lecturer now knows I have group 2 members, X number, okay? Then the lecturer says, okay, if I look at this number, I may need 2 or 3 sessions. So I will meet you so and so time, so and so time, so and so time. Then if it turns out that the student assigned to the lecture for that group are unable to, then they prompt the lecturer. If 2 people have prompted me so far because they have a clash. As for the clashes, it wouldn't have been a challenge because all sessions will be recorded for UGRC 150. It was meant to be purely online, but even before the online issues of COVID came up, that was where the university's posturing was going towards, to have purely online taught UGRCs. Okay, before COVID even came to give us more reason to do so. So I'm saying that if it happens so that there are clashes, it just means you should engage a video lecture like this one and bring your questions directly to the instructor. But some may still want to have a time that they know this is for UGR. So you just send me a message or send your lecture whose time you find yourself unable to meet now. Do you understand? Send a note via email if they have given their email. They will help you find a better time from the other alternatives, okay? Or you could just send an email directly to my colleague who is the coordinator. The email address he has advertised for this is UGRC 150. That's UGRC 150. C for cat, T for table. So ugrc150ct@gmail.com. Send it, will go straight to our colleague. He's our colleague, but he's the one coordinating, so it makes it easier for him to be able to move you, the one who has a troubled time slot now. Say if we're in group 2, he can move you from group 2 to maybe group 1 or group 7 or group 1000, if that would fit your schedule. You can only do that though if all the time slots for each lecture for this course has been advertised. I have advertised mine for our various groups. I think so far all the 3 of you find yourself on a Monday. Okay, because for the other days I have marathons back to back till Friday. Okay, all in the bid to serve our very many and important students. Okay, so they are all Monday. So maybe if you look at your Monday slot and 8:30 to 10:30 for group 3, for example, doesn't help you. That is where you are in, but you could do the other slot still on Monday. Then you could prompt the coordinator's email and say that I am originally added to the site group 2, or excuse me, group 3, but then the time advertised by my lecture for group 2 clashes with my core or something, or my in-person lecture. So I would be grateful if I could be assigned to an alternative group. I know that the other lecture for group 1000 has a time slot which for his interactive sessions, okay, and that is on Thursday. So say if that is possible, could you kindly include me to that group? Period. That is how you write. Not that I don't like the group I'm in. You people, you just change the time with that. No one will mind if you do that. People have thousands and thousands of students to serve, and so you should attract a positive attention to yourself by how you are writing to lectures. Okay? All right. So, introduction, critical thinking. What is it? What is critical thinking? We'll elaborate a bit more, but it is a big question. What does it mean to think critically? Don't we all think? We do. But why the need to talk about critical thinking? What does it mean to think critically? Okay, for our slide, you see on it a critical thinking is the careful, deliberate determination of whether we should accept, reject, or suspend judgment about a claim, and a determination of the degree of confidence with which to accept or reject it. Should I accept the claim being made? What is the degree of confidence I should have in accepting or rejecting the claim that has been made? If I work at suspending my judgments about a certain claim that has been made, I suspend it, I keep it on hold until I am furnished with justification, reasons, grounds, which help me to accept or reject that claim. Then I am acting as a critical thinker. I'm not just making decisions, I'm thinking critically about the decision I'm making, about the belief I'm holding, about what the political party I'm belonging to, about that cultural practice that I am adapting to or adopting. A critical thinker suspends his or her judgment about matters. He was the last person who left the room, so he stole the laptop. That is the outburst from outside there. I have been with people from that part of the country. Even my secretary is one of them. I had such school students like that. All those 4 people I've been with were like that. So I'm not surprised at all. You see that this guy from that place too is treating you that. That is how they all are. that That is an analysis that has been done. You have been with 2, 3, 4 of them. As for men, it be so then they. How are you grounding that belief, that claim? You say, oh, I've been with Kujo, Kwame, and Kofi. They all broke my heart. So men are heartbreakers. You have just made a claim. Men are heartbreakers. What is your ground? I've been with Kujo, Kwame, and Asibi. These 3 people behave that way and they are men. Therefore, you have drawn a conclusion. We will see as critical minds, I'm highlighting on the screen now, as critical minds, whether you could just make such conclusions, draw them, and what the degree of confidence is in such claims. If the person was the last person left the room, does just that mean that he stole the laptop? People stole their own laptops, friends, just to put the department into trouble and solicit for money to replace it. And if you are in that dormitory, that room, you are the roommate and the laptop got missing, you know it shouldn't get to the senior house mistress. If it does, there's big trouble for those room members for that room. So what do? You contribute and then replace it quietly. Meanwhile, for all you know, for all you know, it might just be under the mattress of that student. So you want to be careful. When you say, oh, I saw him red-handed. I saw that secretary on your husband. The secretary is to your boss, of course, by the swimming pool. She was right flat up on your husband. And I mean, this one, it was mouth to mouth. That is all you saw. So what? So you caught a thief? That's your conclusion? Are you able to suspend your judgment until you have enough reasons? So I'm on my second point now. Do you have enough reasons that support the conclusion you are drawing? Reasons we call premises. Do we have enough reasons or premises supporting the conclusion you are drawing? What is your ground? What is your grounds for claiming that the secretary is flirting with the boss? What is your grounds for saying that you have caught a thief? Because you heard, he's a thief, he's a thief, he's a thief. Why? You find the phone in his hands. But could it be that he just saw it on the floor, picked it, and was just about giving it to you when you turned to find him holding it? Could it be? The critical thinker aims at clarifying and investigating how well a claim conclusion is being supported by evidence, premises. Okay. And in doing so, the critical thinker wants to expose fallacies or errors in our reasoning. I will ask you all that, and I know you will be able to explain. Fallacy is an error in the way you are reasoning. The critical thinker does not want you to reason based on error, to have an error in the way you are reasoning about a matter. The critical thinker analyzes. Analyze just means breaks something down into its constituent parts. Okay, so a critical thinker analyzes statements and arguments and then evaluates them to distinguish good from bad reasoning. So he just doesn't break it down. Break it down means, for example, if I say all women are cheats, then I have invariably said that some women are cheats. I hope you can see that. You can't say, as for women, it be so then they. I'm speaking the pidgin. I don't know if I'm doing it right though. As for women, that is how they are. Then I say, does that include your mother? You see, and then the person gets hurt. This is critical thinking and what? Practical reasoning. The course is practical reasoning. So I'll be using a lot of practical instances, illustrations. It will not be enough to know all the technicalities when they have no relevance whatsoever to practice. So I'm going to use concept, statements, viewpoints that we are so accustomed to in everyday life to show you why everybody in the university is required to do some critical thinking, regardless of your specific course content. Okay, it's an addition, a requirement, whether you're a doctor or a military person or religious person, you must be able to think critically about matters for your specific discipline. And so this one is topic neutral. You see that in the next slide. You should be able to break things down. So when someone makes a statement like this, it means this, but it cannot mean that. The implication is this. However, it is inductively arrived at, not deductively. Do I have to logically analyze to find this by just the language? Can I say that the lady wearing suit sitting at the back there is totally naked? Oh, Mrs. Sister now she's suit not teach. I just repeated what I said. Ladies, then the way we can clap our hands to make the point, sometimes out of jealousy, really. Not always out of, a certain degree of consciousness of morality or whatever. Sometimes it's just because you don't have that kind of legs, which is also not good in itself. Yeah. But look at the lady wearing suit sitting over there is totally naked. I always use that example. Totally. Do you understand totally? Totally. Wearing suit and yet totally naked. If you analyze that statement, if you break it down, the statement itself tells you that that is not possible. If she's wearing suit, then she cannot at the same time be totally naked. We'll see some examples in a jiffy. But I'm showing you that analysis, breaking down the constituent parts, helps you to judge, to distinguish correct from incorrect reasoning. So a critical thinker is equipped with that tool. Everybody polishes their shoes some way, somehow, but we are not all specialists in polishing shoes. We all take some paracetamol or some, antacid. I mean, self-medication at a certain level, but we aren't all specialists, doctors. And so we may all be thinking, but the course we are engaging in is being handled by quote and unquote specialists. We are helping ourselves become better at what we are naturally made to be. Thinkers, yes, human beings are supposed to be thinkers, but a critical thinker is trained with skills, tools, techniques that help to make our thinking better. So we do not just help you to be better. Critical thinker does not just ask questions or analyze or evaluate just for the sake of it. We are explaining why it is for practical reasoning. Okay, critical thinking and practical reasoning. We just don't want to know that what you said is fallacious or whatever, but it is to help solve problems of existence. And here you see an overlap with what the philosophers do. If you say, I was here, but I wasn't here, I never saw her. However, when I saw her, she was not wearing what you say she was wearing. We are confused. If it is at the law court, you may be jailed because you may be implicated by the way you are speaking. If it is in marriage, you may destroy a home because what you are saying, I never saw that man. I've never been with him. Why are you telling me this? We've been living for years. Don't say that. Don't do that. Oh, the thing is, yesterday when I saw him crying, I didn't do anything with him. What are you saying? You are destroying your home. Critical thinking. Think reflect. Okay, so the aim is not just to ask questions. I'll put the slides also there for you on top of the video. Anything to help students feel a bit more comfortable and relaxed in the course. Okay, but the aim ultimately is to respond with to what practical problems in law, in politics, in business, in religion, your faith. Are you convincing people by the way you are presenting arguments, premises, reasons, or you are forcing people to receive Christ? If you force people to do things, you won't get genuineness. You get fake people who don't understand what they are doing. And when there is no understanding, what they have committed to won't last. We can't force a man, ladies, and dear ladies, and the university now, to love you. You don't force. You appeal to reason. You do things that make. When I say reason, I'm speaking like a philosopher. I teach philosophy. Okay, reason, as in don't let people use their emotions to do things. Emotions don't last. Reasons last. The person should see why you are the one that he or she is going with. You shouldn't use some distractions. My father is the so and so. Am I going to marry your father? All right, so we proceed. The course will therefore equip you. The course critical thinking aims at what? Equipping you. Now you should have by now seen the course outline, which has a bit more intricate, elaborate, information on aims, objectives, outcomes, what have you. It is there. You should read it, my dear friends, so that you have a clarity of what is expected of you, the measurable outcomes, the competencies that we want you to have gained at the end of the course, how you be assessed and all that. Is on the course overview. You should see it there, okay? Here, I'm just emphasizing that we will equip you with concepts, methods, tools, principles, and techniques for establishing what and distinguishing a logical truth that is based on language, linguistic certainties. The language itself will be more than enough to tell you whether that statement is true or false. Like the example I have given so far, some of the examples. If you say that bachelor staying next door to me, hey, the way he beat his wife yesterday, they say, who? Oh, the bachelor. The South Sudanina or Tibetan. That bachelor, what has he done? He said, oh, last night the way he was beating his wife, that guy is crazy. He just kept beating this lady. He said, which lady? His wife. Are you going to present that testimony at the law court so the gentleman can be, what's the expression? Sanctioned or jailed for deforming the girl? What testimony was that? Did you say he's a bachelor? Then what did you say he has done? Beating his wife? Bachelors cannot beat their wives because they cannot even have wives. Cannot. I didn't say they don't. Bachelors cannot have wives. I need you to take note of that. They cannot. It is a logical truth. That simply means by the language of it, you can determine what is true and whether the statement is true or false. By just looking at the language, you don't leave your seat. You don't travel out of your office. Armchair scholar. You can do an analysis and tell them, this thing you are telling me is false. Go and bring some better information. Otherwise, you haven't done anything. How do you do that? By logical analysis, by the language, linguistics, by the language of the person. Okay? So take note. We will show you that more of that. Maybe I'm able to do it immediately. By the grace of God, I've gone through this course since I was a student of the university, 2000. Okay? You will also get there and you can easily see a statement that has a logical truth. That means it can be by the language, you can determine whether it's true or false. Then there are other truths that are what? Empirical. Empirical means you will observe with your five senses. You either see, hear, touch, taste, or smell to establish truth. If I say it is raining right now at Nungwa, I have made an empirical statement. Observation will tell me whether that is true or false. And so what? And so if I say he stole the laptop, the example I gave earlier, that is a matter of what? Observation. You have to observe to ascertain the truth or false. We need some pictures, we need some we need evidence, empirical evidence, sense-based evidence. Bring me some, if you like, a picture, fingerprints, what have you. Okay, it is not in the language. If you say he's the last person who left the room, therefore he stole the laptop. The language, this statement doesn't help me determine whether it is true or false. I need to go outside of the statement to observe. If you get this clarity so far, you will know the difference between factual statement and value judgment. You can even move it up to the distinction between deductive and inductive arguments in Unit 6, and so on and so forth. So I am spending time here because I know you will need it. Logical truth versus empirical truth, okay? Now, still helping you see what critical thinking is. All of this is in topic 1. See some examples. This is a witness at the law court. Jailed that bachelor because with my own eyes, I saw him beat his wife mercilessly. We have an issue. The person said, I have video evidence. Do we care? You are asking us to jail a bachelor, and your reason is he beat his wife. This was false before he even started speaking. So your video evidence and all the other things you say will not add up to anything. This case will be thrown out of court. You have to correct the language. You will see why the first unit of our textbook, the required test, you will see why it is focusing on language and its use. Because if you are not speaking well, my dear friend, you may have so much to say, but just one thing you said can nullify everything you said, can contradict it. You may be equivocal, you may be ambiguous, you might be confusing different connotations. You see the things I've said so far, you meet all of them slowly but surely. So understand that the language matters. This one is a logical truth. You are able to logically ascertain the truth or falsity of this statement. Why? By just looking at the language. Okay. Now, question to the rainmaker. This is someone who claims he can make the rain fall. The question to him is, so will it rain tomorrow? The rainmaker's answer. See, the problematic statements are in red ink. I put them in red to make you think through them and see. Look at what the rainmaker said. We asked him, will it rain tomorrow? He says, it will either rain tomorrow or it will not rain tomorrow. But we all know this, that tomorrow it will rain or it will not rain. We all know that. So if you say you are a rainmaker and we ask you, will it rain tomorrow? We expect you to establish it will rain. Then if tomorrow comes and doesn't rain, we know that what you said was false. Or say it will not rain. If tomorrow comes and it does rain, then we have established, so say something that will help us test empirically the truth or falsity of your statement. But look at this smart rainmaker who is trying to outsmart us, but we are smarter. He says, tomorrow it will rain or it will not rain. This is a necessary truth. Logically speaking, this is always true. It is a pseudo-scientific statement. Don't worry about that big word. You see it in Unit 7. But the point is, we don't need to observe to ascertain the truth or falsity of such a statement. It is already true. It's a tautology. It's already true because of how the person is speaking, the logical structure. Will I give birth to a girl or a boy? Will I give birth to a girl? And the doctor says, oh, you give birth to a girl or you will not give birth to a girl. But this is necessarily true. My child will definitely be a girl or not a girl. Will I pass the exams, madam? Do you think the way things have gone this semester, I will pass the exam? The madam said, oh, you will pass or you will not pass. But that was true even before you got admitted into the university. That when you write an exam, you will either pass or not pass. So it's a necessary truth. It is a statement or that statement's what negation. That is always true. In element of formal logic, 200 philosophy, we call that the principle of what? Excluded middle. When we get there, you see. So one side or its negation. A or not A. One of them will always be the case. And so it will be enough to make the statement. I'm showing you all these things to explain why such a statement is a logical truth. It's not an empirical one. This is logically true. It's a tautology. This one is logically false, but it is still described as a logical truth. It's a truth that is based on the logic of the language. So the first two statements belong to logical truth. The third one I already mentioned, she's the last person who left the office yesterday, so she stole the laptop. This is not logically true. You need further and better particulars, observation, to establish the truth or falsity of that statement. So it is an empirical truth. I hope that helps. Then look at, she's moral because she leads a morally upright life. You have a problem with that? Question 4. The person wants to show you why she's moral. Look at, she's moral because it's supposed to be leading to reasons. I show you the reason why she's moral. But look at what she says ultimately. She's moral because she leads a morally upright life. This just repeated what is here. What it means to be moral is exactly what it means to lead a morally upright life. You didn't give me the reason. You didn't give me the reason why. You just repeated. And I think you have seen that. That's why we may describe this as tautology, secularity, begging the question. You meet that also later. But just so that you don't get so convinced, the person speaks and everybody's clapping, clap, clap, and you are the tiny you are sitting at some corner there and said, but this guy said nothing. Development is to develop the nation and embark on developmental project so that the nation becomes developed like the developed nations. Everybody's clapping for that fine gentleman, DC or something. Mpuntujuma say a bit too many Mpuntujuma to say no requiring the but I just repeated what I said in English. Showing you how practical it is. The person, everybody's clapping and you are shocked. The person said nothing. He just went in circles. Because if you say development is, we are looking for meanings, not for you to go and repeat. Development is to develop the nation and embark on developmental projects so that the nation becomes developed like the developed nations. We are clapping for you? Oh no, that is a tautology. That is secularity. The language itself tells me what is wrong with what you are saying. If you don't know logic, and you ask me what is logic, I say, oh, logic is when you are logical in your logical abilities. Did I say anything? Okay, you won't always see it as explicit as repeating the same word. Sometimes it's tricky, so you will see that in fallacies. Okay, fallacies, unit 10. As soon as she entered the room, the light went off, so she calls the light off. Typically African. I'm a proud African, but it's typically African. As soon as that black cat crossed my path, I dropped the spoon. So it is the black cat that caused it. This witch of a grandma. As soon as I saw her, when I entered there, the people didn't give me the visa. She caused it. You are making a claim of causal relation. You are claiming that some antecedent condition caused the effect. You see, you are making a claim of cause and effect. How do you establish causality? Unit 9. If we get to do that, I'll check our outline again. If we don't have to do that, no problem. I'll just touch on them to show you empirically based, truth. What we will later develop and help you understand inductive reasoning. But stop. To help you understand inductive reasoning. Okay. My bachelor friend gave up his bachelor's to fix bachelor's. My bachelor friend gave up his bachelor's to fix bachelor's. You will see. Can you see how I shift from bachelor as a human being friend to bachelor as a degree and back to what? Bachelor as a button for shirts. If I don't tell you and I'm using the term, I may be committing equivocation, or I may be sounding ambiguous. It's not clear what you are doing. Whilst I was chairing the function, the chair came in and sat on the chair. 3 uses of the word chair in the same context without a signal. We will see more of those. You shouldn't lie on the stand. Or better still, the witness shouldn't lie on the stand. Can you see that may have more than one meaning? A critical mind must ask for clarity, still on language, okay? So that you do not pass on a certain information, or you do not, if you are the police interrogating the person, for instance, you do not say, oh, they said he was lying when he was standing in the witness box. He was lying. The stand was lying. Maybe that it wasn't that sense of lying that they were referring to, but that lying, as in lying down on the box. You are a witness. Stand up and listen to questions. You are now sleeping off, lying down, physically putting your body on the box. It could be that. It could also be telling lies. So when the person speaks and you just take one of the possible meanings that statement could have and carry it along, you may only find yourself wanting when it turns out that it was the other option. Ask for clarity. That is what critical thinking makes you. And you can only ask for clarity when you detect a confusion at all. But if you can see that the statement may have more than one meaning, as has been presented, then you won't be able to ask for clarity. So when the light is thrown on you, then you can be able to see clarity. Now, pause to think. These are things that I wanted you to already start reflecting on to see what critical thinkers aim at doing for starters. Okay. Critically assess the following. We have done that together. Now, I said this already. So if you look at what we've done so far, it is not stuck to political science or sociology or psychology, religions, business school, law. It just transcends all of them. The discipline called critical thinking applies to all of them. It is not specific to a topic. It is not fixed to one unit or one course. It is neutral to any topic. It means it applies everywhere. Okay. And it is because of its nature, what it means to be doing critical thinking. When we meet in person, I may give you some fine examples I always give to my students. If you're a doctor, you have to decide whether to tell a lie to save a life. Both of them are not admissible in medical ethics. Which one will you do and why? You have to think critically to make that decision. It is not part of what your content as a medical doctor is. It doesn't. Your content doesn't teach you how to make critical decisions. Should you overlook the consent of the patient and give him the blood? He says, I don't take other people's blood. I don't believe in that. But you can tell that if you just gave him 1 pint of blood, he will do well. He will be fine. Should you forget his autonomy and all the things about his belief and just pour the blood into his system? Damn the consequences, someone will say. Should you? You have to make a critical decision, and oftentimes you don't have all the time. In law, I have given you several. In politics, the same. Religion, culture, military. Do you obey before complain? Shoot. As the military. Shoot from your supervisor, your boss up there. Shoot. And when you look at the angle they want you to shoot, you are an expert yet, but you will kill innocent children around the swimming pool. You see only two tiny children sitting around a certain small pool there. Do you understand why they are giving you that angle to shoot? What will you do? It is not about how you pull the cork or how you throw that bomb. You are an expert in that. But this decision making, reflecting to choose an alternative from the others, is critical thinking. It's not specifically military. That's why even if you are doing this, you have to take some critical thinking course for clarity. You do not shoot in the name of, oh, I don't want to hurt those innocent children. Then it turns out that there is something else hidden in the pool there that will come off in the next 2 minutes and reduce the whole city that you find yourself in. For example, I'm just giving an example. Might reduce it to shambles, rumbles. I mean, kill those little ones, kill yourself, tourists, schools, hospitals within that square, because there's something there. I don't want to give it any name. Bomb that will blast in the next second. But if you shoot at that angle, then it will let it come off, and it's just those two little innocent angels there that will die. The pool come off, it will spoil the thing, so the potency of the bomb may not be equal to what would have been the case if it is allowed to go off in the next 1 minute. So you wanted to save those little two, but you don't save them if you don't shoot. You won't save them, but in addition, you won't save the whole city, including yourself and innocent people, students, hospitals, marketplaces, tourists. They have nothing to do with what is going on there. Thousands and thousands and thousands of people would die. If you knew that at the time that your superior, who is up there in the in the in the room somewhere working with the machines and so can see, he's instructing shoot, and you are on the field. You see two little ones. Some of your my students, you say, Madam, I'll change the angle. I intentionally do as if I'm shooting them, but I'll shoot it into the air and not kill them. Well, so you didn't shoot. If it turns out that you're not shooting created something worse than what you were anticipating, what would you do? But do you realize that it could also be that the superior is sick, has taken, doped something, and so he's not thinking right? Apologies, big bosses. Could be he's not thinking well, so he's just giving wrong instructions left. How do you decide? The military person on the field has to be a critical thinker. This has nothing to do with the cause proper. It has to do with how to think about the situation. And dear friends, there's another one that I give. I really didn't want to make this video that long, but about a pregnant woman crossing the road in some interior place, some bush. We don't have a lot of people there. And the driver is on the highway. This pregnant woman has come all the way to the middle of the deep, 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 deep forest. I think she went to some camp, maybe to see some herbalist or something. So she's away from people. But the driver is also driving on the highway. The woman is in the middle of the road, pregnant, triplets, in labor. And the driver is honking. Pee-pee, pee-pee. The woman is not leaving. If he turns to the right, into the ditch. If he goes to the left, into a ditch. What should the driver do? If he lets it go as it is, he's going to hit this woman and the triplets in her tummy. She's in labor, remember, they are full-grown babies. If he doesn't hit her, he's going into the ditch, right side, left side, with the only person that has a COVID vaccine. Now, we have now discovered the vaccine. The professor has that small vaccine, which is going to save thousands and thousands of people. The outbreak is there. But even COVID seems like it can take this. Let's use some airborne disease, SARS or something, that is killing people instantly there. a whole village, and it is spreading widely to the whole nation and passing on. This man discovers a vaccine, one tiny drop. He's going to put it into a certain river there that is able to save. If it drops into that specific river, because of the component of the water, we will drink, and then now we'll have enough to sell to other nations to heal them. If you let this man die with the vaccine, trouble. So pregnant mother triplets in the middle of the, when people are in labor, they don't think right. I always tell my students that, or my friends that, when you're in labor, you are not normal. I always say that. So she can hear the car horn, but the pain, the labor pains, it's not making her rational. And she's moving slowly. And the car is on top speed because it is a highway, remember, countryside, bush. You can't drive slowly. So the driver is an expert, knows his stuff, but he's in a fix. What should he do? Hit the pregnant woman or die together with the thousands of people who will die also because the vaccine, the man with the vaccine who's going to work on it, one old man holding his thing, or die together. What will you do? I asked in class, and the student says, Madam, I'll leave the wheel and say, Jesus, take the wheel. Critical thinking. You have to make a decision and be ready to bear the consequences thereof. Either way. But you would have thought through it, and you don't have all the time. That is what we are training you to do, to be able to look at the various aspects of an issue. Look at the language, look at the reasoning, look at the fallacies, analyze, evaluate, make a choice. So I am belonging to this faith because I have thought through it. It is a reasoned faith, not human reasoning necessarily, but you have grounds, you are convinced. Paul says, I'm persuaded. It's not, I have been forced to, but I'm persuaded about this doctrine, about this faith, so that people have grounds. So those who don't like teaching service at church are missing things big time. Anyway, now a critical thinker makes better decisions because she is less gullible. I don't follow the crowd because the crowd is following something. No, even if I want to look at following the crowd, I would rather look at what the crowd is following. So what quality is in that thing? Is it because the thing is durable? That's why many people are following it. Oh, then I'll focus on the durability. But not because many people are doing it, so I'm also doing something. That's gullible. You're just swallowing everything. Put a pony on my forehead. Why? Oh, because that's what everybody is doing. Everybody. Have you seen the size of your forehead, my dear friend? It is just like Dr. Miles is on. My own. If you have a little addition at the top here, why do you want to put your pony on top? So the mere fact that everybody is doing something is itself not grounds enough for you to also do so. Period. There must be some reason why everybody is following that. Look for that and check if that reason grounds. Otherwise, before you know it, crucify him, crucify him, crucify him. You have crucified the Savior. Then you turn back and now you have repented. That fallacy, that error is called appeal to the masses. You meet it in Unit 10. 2. A critical thinker is clear about why she believes what she believes, not merely following the crowd. I've emphasized that. That is why a critical thinker may, even in your faith, cover your hair before you pray. Fine. So if I'm falling into the ditch, I'm driving, and then I'm falling into the ditch, must I look for my scarf before I pray? You see that couldn't be the meaning. That is why you have to clarify in your mind's eye. Women should not wear men's clothing, yes. But that, how should we interpret that? What constitutes a man's clothing and woman's clothing? I'm just throwing out questions. Remember, critical thinking and practical reasoning. How do you practice that? Will the Holy Spirit disappear if I live in Iceland and the place is so cold that I need some sneakers? I need some trousers, what we call pants, trousers, so that I will not feel cold and die. Will that contravene the word? If a female stands to speak God's word to others, these are all questions that I'm throwing out to you. If I write my exam on a specific day a week, would that constitute work? Have I worked so much that God will be angry at me for using that special day to write an exam? You see, so think about it. Let's be led. I mean, if you're a faith person, be led, but reflect. I want us to put those two together. Let your faith work. I'm a person of faith. And I always say that to all my students. I'm unashamedly, I'm not ashamed at all to profess my faith. So that's clear, but there should be reflection. You have to think, my dear friends. Think. Otherwise, emotions will get the better of us. And then we will not really be doing faith, but we might just be doing what? Dogma. All right. So you are able to be an effective communicator. You can win souls better. You can convert people from politics, a certain political strand, to yours better. You can convince the citizenry if you are the lead, DC, president, United Nations Secretary General of the United Nations, what have you. You will be an effective communicator. You will make an impact when you are looking at the various aspects of matters, as a critical mind. Not one that is just giving, even at home, the family. You are able to put people together easily. You can resolve matters, of course, by the help of God. But if you communicate communicate to make an impact, you can get people to take up their thing and say, we have to make this nation work. We are going to an effective communicator. That is what you will become. Of course, at different degrees and levels. When you are a critical thinker, okay, she's trained to present a point of view in a clear, structured, reasoned way that convinces others. She can anticipate queries. I can tell from a critical mind, you are trained to be able to see what the possible questions will be in the minds of those listening to you and respond to them. You are going to market a product, marketer, advertiser. You must be a critical thinker. You must know what to do. You can't go with your suit and tie when you are going to advertise a fisherman's product. Mommy, no worries. I'm a fisher. Then you go with your suit and your tie and go there. Ladies and gentlemen, I came to tell you that the premix fuel must be there. What is that, my dear friend? It will go nowhere. It's not even the English. It is the posturing. It will not be down to it. Go with your fishing gear. Associate with the people. Empathize with them. You're a nurse. Come to the level of the patient. A doctor. We'll do that in definitions. You need to. That is the next topic. I think you have a challenge. Your sickness is a trypanosomatosis, something of the heart, which is also called common cough. Oh, my dear doctor. So if it is called common cough, why do you want to mention that big word to this poor Fanti man or Asante man, Gam person? Intui, doctor, intui, if you me. That just means, doctor, my heart, what is wrong with me? Say, oh, we have diagnosed it. I think that the sophocles of your left promuscular, this thing has done this, and we will make sure that the insulin of the diabetic, Charlie, my brother, be a critical thinker. This is one poor grandpa sitting in front of you. Can you tell him that, Grandpa, we have checked your heart. We think that it is not fixing well. So we'll give you something to put the posture back. You do fine, but you will have to watch the way you are. You're communicating the same thing. Then this thing that you want to impress your patient. Who cares about trypanosomiasis or scoliosis, whatever, those big words? You see that? You're not helping your patient. You know your stuff. You are a great doctor. But communication, the critical thinker is an invaluable problem solver. Okay. Of course, if you know the various aspects of a matter, and you know that it could be that the security man has an issue with the secretary, then you won't just accept, she's the last person who left the office yesterday, so she stole the laptop. You won't just accept that as wholesale truth. You are conscious of the fact that this is an empirical truth. It could be false. So you need to further investigate. You can solve problems. You can mitigate issues. You speak figuratively where it matters. You speak clearly where it matters. We'll learn all this. I have virtually taken you through the whole textbook from Unit 1 all the way to Unit 10. That's what I've done with that introduction. When we finish, we are hoping that you will be an open-minded person. You will have an inquiring mind, a mind that is seeking to ask all the time in the hope to solve problems, okay? You have an analytic skill, and now you understand analysis. So the skill of analysis, breaking things down, showing that if you said this, then it means that. So if you said this, then you can't be saying that at the same time. You are telling people and you are telling yourself that this is the implication of what I say. If I said all women are cheats, then that includes my pastor's wife and my mother and the Blessed Virgin Mary. They are all women. You just spoke about them. So don't say, oh, but I didn't mean that your mother. I just said women. But is my mother a man? Speak well and know that when you say some men are corrupt or some politicians are corrupt, if you're a politician, don't go beating that journalist respectfully. He said some. Why do you want to be part of the some when there are others who are? If I say some nurses are rude, if you are wearing your nurse dress or you're a nurse, don't turn and look at the person. So why do people like talking like that about us? You chose to be included in that set. When I say some are, it also means some are not. That is the analysis of it. So the language should be clear anyway. Then evaluative skills, I've showed you to evaluate. So you know that judging, then communication skills. These are skills you acquire. I've said all of this on the screen. Effective speaking, for the sake of special students who may be listening to this, I tried to almost read everything on this slide, okay, for your benefit. But I'm sure that you get your institution to put the whole document, the slides and what have you, in accessible modes for you. You will do fine, my special students. Few of you, but still very important to us. Effective speaking, sound reasoning, conceptual clarity, recognizing, diagnosing, and solving problems for the work environment and everyday life. Okay. Now we set off. We are going into our unit 1. Okay. Human beings are thinking things. When I say thinking things, thinking beings. Okay. Our thoughts are captured into language. So what we have in our mind is what we say. And so if you want to know what is in the mind of a person, this is not psychology, this is critical thinking, it's logic. So we look at your language. So say what you mean and mean what you say. Why? Because we believe that your sentences capture your thoughts. That's why if you go and say to someone, I will kill you, and the next day the person is found dead, we will come and carry you away to begin our investigation. It may be that you have nothing to do with it, but you said it. implies that he had it in mind. Not necessarily certainly true that you killed him or her. Okay? So watch what you say. Bible says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth will speak. What is plenty in you would come out when you are speaking. So logicians, engage your language. I'm putting that ahead so that when I say, what is the intention of a speaker who says, could you direct me to the lecturer's office? Don't say, well, how will I know his intention? Well, we know his intention from what he says. But madam, people may say things that they don't mean. Well, if you don't mean it, then don't say it. Because if you say it, we'll hold you by it. We can't read what is in your mind. We are not witches and wizards, respectfully. So it is what you are saying that is leading us to what we think your intentions are. Okay, so for your Unit 1, you see, those of you who have already engaged the textbook, Unit 1, you should, when you do that, life will be easier. You listen to the video, you go to the slides, you are guided by the course outline. You get your A straight up, and then you are done with the course and continue with your regular course for that you chose for the university. Okay, so you say what you mean and you mean what you say. That is the point. Topic 1, you see in the textbook, it says object, thought assault, object of scrutiny. You're scrutinizing your thinking, and it is clear in the text what the Unit 1 aims at achieving. You will see declarative, imperative, interrogative, sentence fragment, emotive expressions. You see the implicit and explicit meanings of expressions. You see value judgments, definitions, factual statements. All these are there. They sound so, it's as if these are so many things. It's just simple, straightforward, okay? So you should engage the textbook. And then come, let's start. Types of sentences that shape our thoughts captured in sentences. Sometimes when I speak, my intention is to seek information. I'm looking for information. Why are we engaging language? Because of all I've said from start till now. Our language is how we communicate our intentions. So if you don't speak well, your case may be thrown out of court. You may not pass that interview to get yourself a good job because of how you speak. Why should we give you the job? You say, I'm the only girl in the queue. You say, you see, we girls, we have suffered. All the people, even this one, when I was coming, I didn't eat. I've been hungry. I get the job. My dear sister, is that why we should give you a job? You are hungry. Then you steal everything in the company. Even if you are hungry, you are here. Tell us why you qualify for the job. Be confident, not overconfident, of course, but speak confidently, to the matter, not to your emotions. That will be appeal to pity fallacy, Unit 10. Okay, so how you speak matters. And so the first unit will be language. You're looking at types of sentences, types of sentences that capture our thoughts. Then we can clarify them. The recommended test and everything is there. We don't want us to spend too much time on that. Now, when I speak sometimes, I want information from the person I'm speaking to. So when I say, where is your mother? The intention is what? To seek information. I'm looking for information. Where is your mother? In a Ghanaian context, mostly when you say, where is the lecturer, then the person will go and call the lecturer. I didn't say call the lecturer for me. I said, where is the lecturer? I'm looking for information. Where is your class rep? You say, oh, the class rep is in the other room. You give me information. You see that? So my expression, where is the class rep, was interrogative. It wanted, please look on the screen. I'm projecting whilst I speak, respectfully, okay, those who are able to. I'm looking for information. So it's an interrogative. Where is your mother? Did Kojo travel? All those examples are on your screen. Is it raining at Legon? Where is the teaching assistant? These are all interrogatives. Why? Because it is an expression that seeks to gain information. It is seeking, S-E-E-K, information. So it's an interrogative. We are done with that. You should be able to identify and interrogate. That's the first type of sentence shaped thoughts. Okay? Since it is an interrogative, think of it. Will I respond true? If I say, where is your mother? Will you say true? How old are you? False. No, you don't say that. So it doesn't have a truth value. Interrogatives do not have a truth value. Why? They don't say something that can be true or false. It is rather seeking information. So it asks a question. It has several other names. You will find them in the textbook. Please get it. You don't necessarily have to go and buy a new textbook, my dear friend, for UGRC 150, which we are engaging now. If you can buy it, then it's fine. You own one. You can get it from the philosophy department near the post office or main campus. City campus students, I think you should check from your administration, or if you contact me in person, I could tell the coordinator that I have so and so number of students who want the book. So then there can be an arrangement to get it to City campus for you. Anything that will make your life easier. Okay. But if you can't buy it, then get it. It's the same text, reader material. For UGRC, it's just one textbook. It's not like our other courses where you might have to get a compiled version of all the various references we are using. For UGRC, it is a textbook, one textbook, that's all. If you pass the course, you don't need to do it again. Those who kept asking me, they passed, they got A, they enjoyed the course, they want to stay. The second semester, what are we doing? I said, you don't do it again. It's just once. It's a university-wide course, okay? So you can take it from those who finished it and have the book, or two of you can borrow if you are in group one. Someone studies it a bit, anything to help you study, but you must see the textbook. Otherwise, you may know so much and may not be able to pass. A word to the wise is enough. So the first type of sentence shaped thoughts that we have looked at is what? Interrogative. What is it? What type of expression is called interrogative? The one which seeks to gain information, okay, from you. Where is your mother? How old are you? Who is the head of department? When will the lecture end? These are all interrogatives. They seek information. Then the second one on your screen now is what? Imperative. It has several other names: command, request, directive, instruction. Okay. The collective name for it is imperative. What is an imperative? It's an expression. When you hear the person speak it, the intention of the speaker is for you, the hearer, to do or to perform an action. That's highlighted here. When you hear it, you are supposed to do, to perform. Okay, so the speaker's intention is requesting that we perform an action. I'm trying very hard to make it very simplified, no technicalities. This is level 100 again. Okay. If I say, take off your cap, raise your hand, stand up, pass me the checkbook. These are all asking you to do what to do. So don't let the acts confuse you. It is telling you to do. It might be hidden, it might be direct. But what is the intention of the speaker? The speaker wants the hearer to do, to perform an action. Then it is what? An imperative. Now look at the tricky one, the example 4. Could you direct me to the library? You see that it comes with a question mark, but this is not an interrogative. If I say, could you shut up, please? I want to hear the president. Could you shut up? Should you say, yes, I could? You take a slap, because the yes, I could response that you are giving to the person is irritating. The person says, shut up. It's just that he's African and wants to be polite. Kind of thing. So even if I want to insult you, I want to say, I beg to tell you that you are foolish. Very respectful, very polite, something of that nature. So instead of telling you, direct me to the library, an imperative could come to you as though it were what? A question. But the logician will not see that as a question. The logician sees it still as what? An imperative. I want you to do something. But I present it as a question so that I give you some respect. Could you remain quiet? Don't say, yes, we could remain quiet. No. Could you direct me to the library? Don't say, yes, I could, and be standing there looking at my face. Because this one, I'm telling you, direct me to the library, but I present it as a question. So what? So take note, I'm going to introduce something. First of all, imperatives also do not have a truth value. You can't respond true or false to them. Okay, if I say take off your cap, you don't say true. Raise your hand, true. No. So it also doesn't have a truth value, just like interrogative. But more importantly, imperatives could, certain imperatives like this one could have explicit meanings and implicit meaning. Implicit means hidden, covert. Implicit means hidden or covert. Covert here with a C. C-O-V-E-R-T. Covert, implicit, okay? Then explicit means overt, open, O-V-E-R-T. Okay, so explicit, the meaning that is obvious to all of us, the one that is at the face of it, that's the explicit meaning. While the meaning that is hidden, it doesn't present itself, but the same expression as that is implicit. Okay, so could you direct me to the library? See a big question mark here. That means on the surface of it, this question 4 seems to be what? Interrogative. It seems as if it is asking a question. That's the explicit meaning, my dear friend. But implicitly, it is an imperative. It's asking you to do. For question 4, it is the implicit meaning that stands out. Take note. I'll ask you all these things. That's why I'm taking time. So the second thing we learned is what? Imperatives. Interrogatives, imperatives. Now, what about the third? Declarative. It is also called, look at the several names it has. Watch out for this word. We will focus on it very much. Declarative. It is that type of sentence that does what? That says something that can be either true or false. It is a statement, also called proposition, also called assertion. A sentence that conveys information which can be either true or false. So this one, declaratives what have a truth value. They can be true or false. If I say Ghana has a new speaker of parliament, that can be true or false, isn't it? Yes. But when I said, where is your mother? You can't say true or false to that. That was interrogative. Call your mother for me. You don't say true or false to that. That is imperative. It's asking me to do or telling me to do. But for declarative, it is conveying information. It is rather giving you information. That's the third type. So Ghana has a new speaker of parliament. A bachelor is sitting under the tree. She's a good friend, etc. These are all what? Declaratives. We are conveying information to you. And so it can have a truth value. There are 3 types of declaratives. When I give you the information, some of it could be a definition. I could be giving you the meaning of the word. We call that type of declarative word, a definition. Then we can have the other one called what? A factual statement. We'll learn that. And then a value judgment. If I say a bachelor is sitting under the tree, the bachelor is sitting under the tree. I'm stating a fact. Observation will tell you whether the person sitting there is married or not, and whether he's sitting under a tree or rather under an umbrella. You can observe to ascertain that. So it is a declarative, yes. Which type? Factual statement, matter of fact. It can be factually true or factually false. Okay. Then a bachelor is an unmarried adult male. It's also a declarative, by which one I'm showing you how to use the word bachelor. Bachelor is an unmarried adult male. So this is a declarative type definition. Then the last one, the bachelor has a good conscience. It is also a declarative, but a certain type. Which one? Value judgment. Because of my use of the word what? Good. I have gone ahead of myself just to help you for clarity. What should you know so far? Interrogatives, imperatives, declarative. Which one of them has a truth value? Only declaratives have a truth value. All the others do not have a truth value. That simply means they can't be true or false. Right. How about sentence fragments? If I say Kofi is eating rice and stew, then I've given you information. So it is a declarative. If I say, where is the rice and stew? I'm asking you a question. So it's interrogative. If I say, give me the rice and stew, I'm instructing you to perform an action. So that would have been imperative, my dear friends. But if I say rice and stew, you see, you can't place it under any of the three studied so far. Rice and stew, what has it done? See the question. That's what I'm asking you there. What has it done? It is incomplete. So we call it sentence fragment. You see, rice and stew. Morning dew. What has morning dew done? What about it? The Dean of Students in the University of Ghana. This cannot be true. When you say this, should I say true or false to it? It's very long, but it is not a complete thought, dear friends. Okay, if only I got to Ajo earlier, what would have happened? So all these are incomplete sentences. So we call them sentence fragment. Sentence fragment, not statement fragment, but what? Sentence fragment. If it's a statement, it cannot be a fragment. If it's a statement, then it is a declarative, it's already complete. But a sentence is just a collection of words. Okay, so if it is a fragment of it, then it is an incomplete sentence. Read more in the textbook to fill in the gaps. Okay, no truth value, and then bring your discussion questions on Monday, God willing. So this one also doesn't have a truth value. Then the very last one, I think that you should know, is emotive expressions. Oh, what a day. This is complete. It's not a fragment, but it is not a declarative, it's not an interrogative, it is not an imperative. Oh, what a day. Wow. Brilliant. Awesome. Now look at the third one. Very tricky. Hey, who the hell do you think you are? With an exclamation sign. Boom. This is not a question. I'm not interrogating. I'm expressing my emotions, venting out my emotions or exclamation. Okay? So this is not a statement, or if you like, it's not a declarative, not an interrogative, not an imperative, it's not a sentence fragment. It is what? An emotive expression. It also doesn't have a truth value. So for all the five that we have discussed, only one has a truth value, and that is what? Declarative, a statement, a proposition. Okay, an expression that says something that can be either true or false. Now, I touched on this, so I'll just run through it quickly and we can end. Types of declaratives. Remember, I told you it is only declaratives that have a truth value. They say something that can be true or false. You can respond true or false to that. But there are three types of declaratives. One, factual statement. It look on the screen and then study the slides. I'll ask you a lot of questions from this one. Dito like that. So you should learn it. Okay, please. It informs you objectively by describing what is there through sense observation. It is raining. She is the Dean of Arts. Ghana gained independence 1957. That has nothing to do with your feelings. The president is an Achim. Or let's use something else. My lecture is short. Use myself so that we are safe. If I say my lecture is short, I'm just describing what observation teaches us. Okay, by our senses. You see, you hear, you touch, you taste, you smell. But if I say my lecture is good, or my which other example? My head of department or something. Give me an example. My boss. Let's use my boss is corrupt. Look, the word corrupt depends on who is speaking. My guy is a good guy. You are saying he's good. Good is relative. It depends on who is speaking. You are saying he's good because you are the one he's with now. Whereas the lady that he dumped yesterday, whether he will agree with you. So good, bad, wrong, corrupt, what have you, when you use them in an expression, And dear friends, you create value judgment as the second type of declarative. Why? Because it is based on the viewpoint of the speaker. The terms that you are using in the expression may reduce the expression toward a value judgment. If you want it to be purely a factual matter, then take out value terms like good, bad, wrong, what have you. Because value judgment prescribe what should or ought to be, whilst factual statements describe what is the case. Okay, but they are both what? Declaratives or types of statements or types of propositions or types of assertions. They are all referring to the same thing. Okay, so a factual statement's truth or falsity does not depend on the person's, the subject's viewpoint. It doesn't depend on the one speaking. The truth or falsity of that statement, a factual one, is not dependent on how you feel. So the guy is tall, for example. It's not a matter of how you feel about him. But the guy is good depends on how you see him. Okay? Wearing earrings is bad, depends on who is speaking. You see that? The president, I don't want to use the president. I want to be safe. Let's use something that is not political. She's wearing a red dress. Oh, she's wearing a red dress. You see that? That is objectively true or objectively false. It's a matter of fact. But when I say her dress is beautiful, that is not a matter of fact any longer. It depends on who is looking at it. You'll be amazed how the second person will react. Beautiful. This thing that has plenty multicolors and check and what have you, how can that be beautiful? See, so for one person, that is not beautiful. For the other person, that is beautiful. And they are all entitled to their view about the dress, my dear friends. Okay, but if I say she's wearing a red dress, whether you like the person or not won't matter. You can't say because you don't like her dress, the dress's color has become yellow, for example. So if I say she's wearing a red dress, that is presumed to be what? A factual statement. It can be factually true that the dress is red, or factually false that the dress, maybe it's not red, it's yellow. But then it has nothing to do with your subjective viewpoint. That is all I'm saying. Okay. If you say the president is the most corrupt president Ghana has ever had, it depends on where you stand. You see, in the political scheme of affairs, because the word corruption is not an objective matter, it is subjective. Unless we have a detailed description of what we mean, that will be subjective. It will depend on those dealing with it. If we say Ghana's most beautiful, okay, we say so and so person is the most beautiful person. Who told you? It is based on the specific subjective viewpoint. Because for another person, beauty means take off all your hair, as a lady, and let's see your scalp with some big earrings, shiny dark skin. That is beauty for something. You see how people pay so much to pick an art piece, so at the gallery. Sometimes just some scribbled something on the canvas. But someone will pay so much and say, wow, this is beautiful. And for another person, they don't see beautiful. Okay, when we engage, I'll give you a funny example about a student showing his girlfriend's picture on his phone. This is level 100, so you see the kind of examples I'm giving. No worries, chill. He says, Charlie, CC, my lady DP. And he's showing that, a picture on the phone to his friend. And the friend looks at the picture on the phone and he's looking and looking and looking. And he doesn't see beautiful. But the gentleman sees beautiful. So when I say she is beautiful, we always say beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. Because of my use of the word beauty, it makes it a value judgment. That's all I'm trying to teach you with the several examples. So don't think that value judgments have objective truth, like factual statement. They are all declaratives, but one states facts, which can be factually true or factually false, and the other one states what? Values, which depends on the subjective viewpoint of the speaker. So think of them as what? Prescribing. That bachelor has a good conscience because of the use of good. This is a value judgment. It is wrong to talk back at your supervisor. The use of wrong makes it a value judgment. Amma is a beautiful girl. The wicked driver knocked down the innocent boy. This is a value judgment. You want to report what you saw. You're a journalist. Say the driver knocked down the boy, the schoolboy who was wearing uh, maybe schoolboy cries because of what he or she's wearing. It might not be a schoolboy necessarily. So report without the embellishment, the values. You see, that wicked driver knocked down the innocent boy. Your use of wicked and innocent has rendered this expression a value judgment. It will have truth because it's a declarative, but the truth may be subjective. It depends on who is speaking. Okay, the wicked boss sacked the innocent secretary. Says who? That is a value judgment. Okay, depends. Then he's a good boxer. Depends. Okay, all right. Then the third type of declarative, and I think that will be so done. Third type of declarative is what? Oh, there are two ways of thinking of value judgment. You see examples when there's emphasis on right and wrong. So then we say it's a moral value judgment. Abortion is evil. Right and wrong here with moral implications. Okay. When I say abortion is evil, you know this is a declarative. Yes. And it is a value judgment because I'm using evil. Yes. Which type of value judgment? The moral one. I'm making a moral claim of right and wrong that has implications on human life. See, morality. It's a bit difficult to make this distinction, not necessarily when it has to do with human being, because look at the second example. He is a good boxer. I'm talking about a human being. By being a good boxer, it's not a matter of morality. It's how my phone has a good screen. That's a non-moral value judgment. But if I say she's a good friend, yeah, she has a good conscience. I'm using good at this time with moral implications. Okay, so that should be able to help you. You will see that down there, I've made a note about metaphors. We see metaphors are also another way of expressing a value judgment. Example, Ata is a flower. It doesn't mean she's in the garden at the back, they go and plug it or something, plug it. We may be trying to say that Ata is weak, Ata is beautiful like the flower, Ata is delicate. I say, a husband says to the doctor, my wife is a pig now. My wife is a pig. Don't go home going, hey, I went to see your husband insulting you. No, it might be now she's eating. Maybe it's even good news for the family because she couldn't eat pregnancy, first trimester issues. So, doc, she's a pig. She's a pig. I came to thank you. She's a pig. It could mean she's not eating a lot. It could mean she's dirty. She's snoring. She's putting you on, etc. So we can use metaphorical statement, metaphor, phantom comparison to make a case. And there's a second example there. When we say my MP is now a Mugabe, we use that to mean that he has stayed in power for so long or something like that. Okay, it's metaphorical. Okay, then the third type of definition. So don't get the third type of declaratives. We have seen definitions, we have seen factual statement, value judgment, and then the third one is definition. It is also a type of declarative, but I think this one is straightforward. It gives you the meanings of a term. So I'm informing you, yes, declarative, but I am not stating a fact, neither am I prescribing a value, but I am actually giving you meaning. Okay. Pollination is the transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma. I am showing you how to use the word pollination. So the unknown word here is pollination, definiendum, and then the other words are what? Definiens, what I'm using to give you the meaning of the definiendum word pollination. And so definiendum plus definiens will give you definition. Even number is any number that is divisible by 2 without a remainder. Just give you the meaning of even number, how to use the word even number. So even number is the definiendum. The other parts are the definiens. Together, you have a definition. And a definition is a type of what? Declarative. Note that a definition can also be either true or false. We have said that it has a truth value. Remember, all the declaratives have a truth value. What are they? Factual statement, value judgment, and definition. They both, all those three have truth values. And so they can be either true or false. The definiendum and definiens, then I mentioned this. What you see on your screen now. A bachelor is an unmarried adult male. Identify the definiendum of this statement. A bachelor is an unmarried adult male. What is the definiendum? A bachelor. What's the definition? An unmarried adult male. Okay. Why do we call this a definiendum? Because the whole statement qualifies as a definition first and foremost before you can call its subject what? A definiendum, and its predicate a definition. If it wasn't, if I say a bachelor is sitting under the tree, that is not giving you the meaning of bachelor. So you can't call that bachelor what? A definiendum. I hope that is clear. So first it must be a definition, then its predicate can qualify, its subject can qualify as what? A definiendum, and then its predicate qualify as what? A definition. And that brings us to some anecdotal comments. If you get this well, you have covered the whole of Unit 1 about, if I'm not mistaken, about 15 or 16 pages. So when you are reading and practicing with the several examples in the text, it's just for clarity. Okay. If you see a sentence, know that all statements are sentences, but not all sentences are statements. Think about that. All statements, propositions, declaratives, all of them are sentences. But it isn't every sentence that is a declarative or a statement. So all statements are sentences, but not all sentences are statements. When we meet to discuss, and you are still not clear with that after going through this content, draw my attention. But I will ask you, the slides already respond to that. I need you to do some work yourself. So engage that when you study the slides and the textbook and listen to this lecture. Put all together and be sure you know that if I say sit up, I have just given you a sentence. What type of sentence is that? That sit up. Remember, we just did it. It's an imperative. So it is a sentence, yes, but it is not necessarily a statement. Statement is a specific type of sentence. Which one is that? The one that informs you. Okay, gives you an information. So an expression could be a sentence, collection of words with a complete thought. Yes, set up. But it need not necessarily be a statement. You see that? So all statements are inside the big set of sentences. But within that set, there are other types of expressions which are not statements. So you have emotive expressions, if you like. You have imperatives, interrogatives. They are all inside the set of what sentences. They are all sentences, but they are not necessarily statement. A statement is a specific type of sentence. Whoa, finally, we got there. I leave you with a note, sprinkle a little critical thinking, collaboration, communication, and creativity. And whoa, you make a perfect recipe for success. I wish you well. My name is Dr. Nancy Malsba for GMP. This content was made for UGRC 150 2021 second semester, specifically Group 2 main campus, and then Groups 3 and 4 city campus. Have a pleasant week. Get in touch and go to the courses site and engage a specific content laid there for you. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do so that you can access videos. All the links will be posted on Sakai for you. If you're still struggling, send me a WhatsApp message. You know my contact if you are my student. I wish you well. Blessed week.